Okay, so let me give you a bit of background on scaled agile. Scaled agile movement started around, let's say, 5 or 6 years earlier. It's still getting matured. Now we have understood actually is agile scrum, right? Agile scrum is the project methodology which is followed by maximum number of project execution companies, be it something like Wipro, Cognizant, TCS, and so on and so forth. So all IT majors, including US military, NASA, and all those matured company, they normally apply Agile Scrum as their project management methodology. And we have seen why, and how discipline it's really being matured in terms of templarization. It's really being matured. Like we have a really good training staff as far as Agile Scrum goes. Now to take a step further, whenever we had bigger project, bigger in the sense more than a year's timeline, when we have bigger teams, let's say more than 20 25 plus teams, we were falling short of coordination in between, and this is a kind of inherent one of the most prominent problems we have occurred whenever we have executing agile scrum as a project management methodology, because agile scrum is completely concentrated on a singular execution, and they don't normally talk about running project parallelly. So let's say bigger project, and this is how I think US military was the first to raise these flags in 2005 2006 era, wherever agile scrum alliance sit and they say, okay, now we need to have to tackle these project management challenges of multiple projects running parallel, a bigger project plan in terms of how can you handle multiple project and a lengthier project, let's say a year plus kind of scenario. And they started coming up with scaled agile, or they call it safe. Scaled agile means you scaled that agile scrum to a level where we can accommodate more project, let's say of more than a year plus timeline, and at least 3+ teams are running parallelly on a given project. So these are basically very high volume project. Again, this is not mature technology, we are still maturing it, but we have started templarizing, or we have started leveraging the agile scrum templates at the maximum place. Okay, so here we are adopting agile scrum. So if you haven't had a look at agile scrum, please have a look at the last session, this session recording 28, 29, 30 and 31st. So these are the 4 recording for agile scrum. Please do revisit those things and then have a look at these recording, whatever we are discussing today. We will go slow so that you can understand the changes. There are not many questions they ask on scale agile, because everybody is learning, everybody is in a kind of adaptation mode. Okay, so that's why agile scrum is still a new topic. It takes almost 8 to 10 years to get a project management methodology to reach its maturity, to reach its what you can say application definitions and so on and so forth. So here what we are trying to do, we are trying to adopt a new enhancement in project management methodology called scaled agile, or it's normally referred as SAFE. SAF, and E is smaller, as you can see on the screen. You can see that on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, we are basically trying to take a next step in terms of understanding how we can adopt to this technology, or how this technology is basically being built, customized for us. Okay, now let's try to understand the scaling part of it. I believe everybody understood why we use scaled agile. Any project over a year and the team member above and beyond 25-30 resources per project. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so here we are looking for a bigger and better projects, to do it in more discipline, working in a cohesion, working in a better coordination within the team. We have acquired the coordination with the customers, we have acquired the collaboration or flexibility to work on a project with the customers with the agile scrum. Okay, so please revisit those recording. Whoever have not joined the agile scrum class, please have a look at those recordings of 29, 30, 28, 20, 29, 30 and 31st. There are 4 recordings of agile scrum. Okay, now let's come back to the scaling the agile. To some, scaling agile means going from a few agile teams to multiple or even hundreds of agile development teams. The thought process was, whenever you are doing agile scrum, like say we talk about a thumb rule of 10-member team. So if you have 20-member team, it's like you have two different agile teams working together. One can be development, one can be testing, one can be overall requirement gathering, building test cases, and applying the quality control mechanisms to the project team. Other can be designers, architect, developers, again depending upon your organizational thought processes, policies, and discipline they have adapted, the way they have customized agile scrum, they normally choose either of these paths. So whenever we talk about scaling agile, we are thinking about the teams more than two. So there are 3, 4, 5, and there are around 6, 7 teams as well in bigger organizations. Okay, so this is what they mean scaling. Scaling means you are handling multiple team, 3 or 3 plus. In some unique challenges that have come up whenever you have an organizations where more than 3 or 4 agile teams need to work together in a coordinated fashion. Now again, what we are trying to do, we are trying to coordinate within the development team. We have acquired the collaboration and flexibility in terms of client, but now we are building better operations within our team. So we are improving the coordinations among the team itself. So this is predominantly aligned with the development organizations. This is predominantly a kind of inner facing thought process. Could you understand the inner facing thought process here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's move on and let's try to understand the other facet of it. Need a new approaches to harness. Give me a minute, please. Sorry. Need to have a new approaches that harnesses the power of agile team and lean and applies to the needs of the largest software enterprise. Now let's try to understand this statement in terms of, well, in terms of how we can be a better team, or how we can build a better coordination within the team itself. Now let's take an example where I'm working with, let's say, 3 agile teams, and in these 3 agile teams they are coordinating with customers, clients on daily basis, in and out. There are some critical tasks which got a challenge, in terms of resource not being present, or resource not well, and something like that. So I can move resources among the team, right? And such resource sharing, the thought process sharing, or the familiarization sharing is drives this scaling agile to a level of new maturity, where we are sharing these thought processes of what we are doing, how we are doing, what are the approaches we have taken, and so on and so forth within the teams together. We might not have the scrum call all together for all these 3 or 4 teams, but we normally share the knowledge. As we discussed in our PMI PMP sessions, we share the knowledge base, and we share the project familiarization checklist, where any new resources who is joining our team will be shared with this couple of documents, where he or she can read and understand how these new project teams coming together, and this resource can be shared across these 3-4 teams to start with. So here we have better coordinations, we have better control in terms of our new execution, in terms of the efficiency of our project teams within our project teams, and we are building better lean project management. Lean means we are executing the project at much lesser cost. So every time if I need a resource, I don't have to rush to the resource management team. Every time I need to procure something, I might not need to resource to the procurement management team. What I'll say, I'll check out with the other team first, and with the other teams, they are just besides me. So these are like co-allocated team, and we'll come to this co-allocation and everything in a few slides. But here, how you work within the team is basically rising to a new efficiency, rising to the new knowledge shared base, and rising to the new lean management, or rising to the lesser cost acquisition in terms of our project processes. Yes, Ajay sir, please go ahead. Do you have a question, sir?
So I had one question, which is when it comes to when we scale agile and we implement lean practices, we're also cutting out and eliminating waste, right? So
That's right.
wouldn't that be more of kind of like a business process management side to it as well?
Uh, you're very right. It's a kind of business process management, but on the ground, see, we build all sort of business processes to get better. But when you apply it on the ground, there are ignorance, or as you say, there are resistance to change. Do you agree, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. So when a CEO, CTO says we need to apply lean management more, and the resource on ground says yes, we have to, and we'll work on that. We will work on that. So as of today, please don't disturb me. So what we are doing here, a scale agile is a kind of top down as well as bottoms up approach, as they say. So it's not just the top down approach. The
Mhm.
guidance is basically inbuilt, but on the bottoms up, what we are discussing within the team first, saying okay, how we can apply lean management. So we'll share resources, we'll share man, material, machine, human resources, raw material as well as machine. So if my laptop breaks down today,
Mhm.
what I'll do, rather than running to the procurement management, I'll check with my other project manager. I'll check with my other, Scrum master, saying, hey, Scrum master too. Do you have any laptops spare in your, custody? He say, yeah, we had kept one extra laptop. So I'll handle that laptop to me. And I'll basically also log a ticket with these laptop vendor saying, hey, your laptop is not working. Please give me a replacement. He'll give it in a day or two. But at least I have not stopped my working, because all the laptop which are acquired by this team will be installed with all the software required within the team. And for 3 4 scrum, agile scrum team working together, we might build some what you can say extra buffer, or we might procure some 2 or 3 extra laptops. Make sure such thing happens, I'll address those as well. So this way, we are building a proactive lean management strategy from bottoms as well. And that's how this is really effective. See, building
Mhm.
a policy, building a organizational-wide thought process is really great. But what it happens normally on the ground staff, they, kind of resist the changes. And this is a human psychology, means nothing good or bad with these, Scrum team. So how do you do it? You normally start or include that thing in your project management methodology. So it's your day-to-day task now
Mm.
to acquire lean management. Does that make sense, sir?
It does, but then comes the
Uh-huh.
question: when you're approaching it in perspective in a scaled agile situation,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't it be trying to eliminate the need for using more resources than required for a certain project?
Yes,
So
sir.
wouldn't it, even if you're doing it, yeah.
No, please go, sir.
So when you're talking about like a team of, let's say you have your company at your organization has 25 teams,
Mhm.
3 to 4 members a team, wouldn't the lean principle um, lean on trying to maximize the utilization of your resources and cut down the number of teams that you're using, and wouldn't it kind of go opposite to scaling agile?
No, sir. Okay, I think we are getting confused between two different things: increasing the team organically and increasing the team kind of in a numbers. Here we are talking increasing the team organically and share the extra
Mhm.
load in terms of some mishappening amongst the team itself, rather than going to the top management every time. Hey, we have problem. Give me that
God.
management or something like that. So here, what we are saying, we are implementing
Mhm.
the scaling on the ground, the team itself. So what we are doing,
Mhm.
let's say whenever you build these agile teams, right? And we'll come to that. Believe me, means that resource sharing comes within that agile, scaled agile practices. Just to give you a heads up, let's
Mhm.
say you have a 10 member agile team. Now these are 50 resources, right? Now whenever you start, not every resources will be allocated on the project plan, as in we'll have leads and lags. So in case a resource
Mhm.
shortage, we might share the lead lag resource to with the other project team, and this resource is already familiarized. He know what we are doing, how we are doing, and everything. So we are not going to the resource management team, right? We are adjusting within. We are
Mhm.
adjusting within family. and we try to absorb these shocks up
Okay.
to a great level. When you start working practically, you'll understand why we normally go scaling agile. And here we are talking about more coordination on hourly basis, on daily basis, rather than the way we work in terms of resource manager and procurement management request, proactive for weeks together, and so on and so forth. So the shock absorption thought process is really efficient, believe me, and that's why we normally move to a scaled agile. But again, uh, this comes with a maturity. Not everybody can do scaling agile, because the team coordination has to be there. If you have so many ego clashes, if you have so many I am the better project manager than him, and so kind of scenario, then the team might work in isolation, and the scale agile motto is will be a failure. And that's why we normally go to a level
Mm.
where we need to have a mature team, where these teams have worked on the agile for at least 2-3 years, so that they understand what do you mean by scrum master, what do you mean by sprint retrospective, how do we clear the obstacles in a progressive manner, how do we clear obstacles within team rather than going to the resource manager, going to the external party to understand our challenges. Here we are trying to absorb challenges within, and that's the most advantageous part of the scaling agile. You absorb all the challenges within the team. Believe me, when you start working on this, you'll understand clearly the practical aspect of it. But I believe you got an idea from sharing resources in terms of man, material, machine within the team rather than going to the resource management, right? Now
Got
this
it. Yes.
so these shock absorptions basically lead to a lean thought process, where we have the resources which are the way I call it pre-cooked. What do you mean by pre-cooked? They know what you are doing, so there's a lesser learning curve. If you procure a resources from outside of your scaled agile team, that resource has to tell you a, what is b, and so on and so forth. So here we have already familiarized resources, which we normally call it pre-cooked resource, so that they can directly start working on the task, activities, or work item, rather than telling them this is where it fits, and so on and so forth. And this is how the overall lead management kicks in, with the kind of coordinations, correlation within the team. But of course, not everybody can do it, because you need to understand the agile scrum first, and then we'll basically understand how the flexibility and collaboration should be intact, because that's what the agility is, right? You can't have the lean management at the cost of collaboration or flexibility. Am I clear enough, or am I talking too technical, sir? Could you understand?
No, it's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. No problem. And these discussions make you understand proactively, and then we'll see how this nitty-gritty of templatization and discipline is coming at play on the ground, which helps us to adopt these processes and policies. Okay. Anybody have any questions on these scaling agile?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me move forward. Somebody left the session. I don't know. Am I boring or something? Oh, Sanjay ji have left. Okay, no problem. Okay. Some laptop issues. Sanjay ji, some machine issues, sir. Sanjay ji, is everything okay at your end, sir?
Yeah, my connection's not too good today. I'm at
Oh, I
client
can.
location. Yeah.
I have seen, you leave the meeting and everything. So I was really worried what happening and all that. That's why no problem. And these things do happen. Even it happened with me also in last session. There were some challenges with my desktop, or the Zoom is giving some tough time to me. No problem. Now let's start understanding how this scaling works on the ground. Right here, we are talking about two different project executions. Let's call the 1 and 2. The first project, a team working with a project where we have around, say, let's say 10-member team, and the second in the middle of our screen has an second agile scrum team member. They were working on two different products for a same client, but then client said, let's unite this team and start understanding how we could apply the agile scaled agile thought process for ourselves. Now here what we did, we basically tried to understand from the role, artifacts, and ceremony perspectives, right? So here, if you see on the right hand side, the developer testers are marked in the green, Scrum Master as in black, the product owner as an blue, and product manager as an yellow scenario. So we have one project manager, we have one product owner, we have one Scrum Master per team, and we have one developer or a tester. We have others as in developer and testers. Now, when we start executing, we have a product backlog shared across this team, because these, we had two separate product backlogs whenever we started. But when we decided that we work on an agile scale team, we normally try to refer the complete 20-member team as a single team, and then there is a bit of logical separation in terms of how do you separate team 1 and team 2, and we have basically co-allocated this team in terms of remote working. We have just moved them to a single collaborative software so that they can share their Scrum call meeting outputs. They can share their sprint review retrospective outputs with with the teams together, and even the Scrum Master can discuss within themselves. There's a single product manager who is looking after or who is responsible for executing these two teams together, because we have joined them together. Now, whenever you join them, you normally couple the product backlog together, and then we normally, for each sprint, you segregate the product backlog with the help of Scrum Masters on a daily basis to team 1 and team 2, and that's how we progress. So this way, what we have done, we have basically united the teams together in terms of scaling the agile to the second level. Now here, let's try to understand how we did that. So in terms of product backlog, the product increment 1, we should have, let's say, so and so product backlogs given to the sprint backlog given to the first sprint team, the similar team backlog or a sprint backlog given to the second team in parallel, and these are almost similar in size, and we are trying to achieve the agile velocity at a similar level, the efficiency at a similar level, because now we are working in terms of agile scaled agile. So the overall balance is shared in between. Now, whenever you work in team, let's say, if think it this way, you are developing something on your own, and there are 2 or 3 other similar your friends developing other things, and if you start working together, the efficiency goes up because you share your thought process. You get you get to understand the other thought process, and you choose the best one to adopt for your executions. And this way, what we do, we work as a team, we help each other as a team on a day-to-day basis, and this way the efficiency shoots up. So what we have understood, by the time of third sprint, I can really take in almost double the product increment from the backlog than I used to do in the independent scenario. So here, what we were doing, we were churning, or the velocity have increased up to a considerable time. I'll not say it get double, but something around 1.5%, 150%. That's what we experienced with the collaborative team or with the scaled agile team. And that's how this was really helpful in quite a few trial, or what you can say, proof of concept type of executions. So that whenever 2 teams work together, the efficiency get increased to 150%. And this is the practical approach to it rather than a theoretical approach. So how do you achieve that extra efficiency? This is because these two teams, let's assume they are working with a kind of cabin separated type of wall, which is like 5-foot wall in between, and they have started working together. So if Ravindra have a problem, Ravindra can directly contact to his neighbor, might be Keshav, and say, hey Keshav, could you help me with this challenge? I'm getting this error continuously. So Keshav, yeah, I have came across this error. Please do these things. And even Ravindra try these things, and it gets working. So this way, we have all these developer level interactions, developer level assistance together, Scrum Master level assistance together, and the team efficiency do get increased. So rather than going to a Google, I'll check with my neighbor first, and my neighbor might have the solution good number of times, because we are working on a similar product, project, solution, support services. So things like this might have done by others earlier, and they can guide you more on the inner step of processes, inner code level working, or ground level working. We are coordinating together and getting it better day by day. Does that make sense? Could you understand what I'm trying to say here? It's
Yes,
like, let me share another thought process. Like whenever you're a bachelor, you used to make coffee tea for you, right? And whenever you got, what I can say, married, the wife makes tea and coffee for you, which taste much better, and which get ready by the time you complete your, washing teeth or morning ritual. And this way my day is really improved whenever I have my wife with me. He or she, whoever wakes up first, makes the tea or coffee, or start the teapot or a coffee pot, whatever you want to call it, so that by the time I have my morning rituals completed, I can just carry my cup and get the tea or coffee, whatever there, and start drinking. Even if I woke up first, I'll start that thing. And this is kind of proactive completing the processes with the help of the partner. And same thing do happens with these agile teams. Does that make sense? Anybody
Yes,
have any
sir.
questions on these?
Sir?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to ask one more thing. Like in this like Agile Scrum team,
Sure.
we need minimum. I mean, like our team members should be more than 20, right, for a project.
Normally, yes, that's the
That's
thought.
necessary.
Again, sir, these numbers, you rather than we limiting the numbers, normally it means in a practical scenario, at least in North America, the agile scale agile adoption is mostly adopted for more than 50 sort of resource numbers. But again, these are again thumb rules, and we are just learning in a step-by-step manner. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's all I just wanted to know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
like it's kind of like a rule. Like we have to be, more than 20-25 resources we need if we want to work on a scaled Agile Scrum. Otherwise,
Right.
we can just go for a waterfall.
Yeah. Let me give you a kind of background to this, because why 50? Because what we've seen, there's a learning curve in adoption of scaled agile as well. I mean, we'll see in couple of slides what is the learning curve and how we need to basically prepare ourselves in this agile scrum thought process. Scaled agile thought process, because there's a learning. See, you can't just go on coordinating as an we stand and we start walking. No, this is like you need to first learn to stand. If you look at the infant, right, he has to stand first, then put one foot after another, so that he basically balances he or she balances himself or herself on standing one foot first, and then he start walking, something like that. So there's also a learning curve whenever you start learning scaled agile as well. Okay, let me move forward, and let's try to understand from the perspectives of the masters. Now, this is the picture I have taken from the Scaled Agile framework. They have built this framework at a 3 level: team level, program level, and portfolio level. It's really best possible image you can have whenever you are giving interview. If you have this image in front of you, you can answer all the questions of the Scaled Agile, whatever normally put to a project manager. I'm not talking about senior project manager or portfolio manager or program manager, but at a project manager interview, you can answer all the questions in the interview with the Scaled Agile framework, and what we normally called as a Scaled Agile framework big picture. Okay, and the core value which we instill whenever we adopt to the Scaled Agile are a program executions. So we normally focus on a program level executions rather than a project level execution. What it means, we are collaborating 2 projects together at least, or rather 3 projects together. So whenever you go on Scaled Agile level, you normally at least have 3 or 4 projects or 5 projects working together, and a normal Scaled Agile executions. Then alignments. Here the alignments are working together with all the teams. So mostly all the resources are being inducted in the team with the familiarization with the client, with the client understanding, with the collaborative work, and with the help of the overall structured framework in terms of utilizing a resource with a multi-team. So there will be a kind of senior project manager, as we discussed in PMP PMI thought process. When you have single projects, you are a project manager. When you have two projects, you are a senior project manager. And when you have multiple projects, then you can call program manager. Now here we are thinking ourselves as a program manager. So you are a kind of senior project manager handling these multiple teams together. So the alignment is basically strategically moved from a single team executions to a multi-team executions for a given client. So now we are more of a client facing, more of a outer facing than an inner facing, like a project. Project manager normally sit with the team on day-to-day basis. He tackles the single project manager plan. Now, a single project plan might be, Microsoft Project, Primavera, Jira, whatever you're using as a tool to do the project manager. He normally sit with a single team of, let's say, 8 to 10 people. But when you move to the Agile scheme, here we have at least, 5-6 teams working together, where I'm working as a kind of senior project manager, where I'm normally coordinating with the client on the help of with the help of these teams development. And here I'm improving my reporting in a much better sense rather than coordinating with each and every team member. But will there be a gap? Yeah, there will be a gap, because now we have too many team members at your disposal. So the project manager's jobs increases in multifold. Wherever the project manager working, let's say 8 to 7 hours in a singular execution, here we are talking about a project manager working 10 to 12 hours a day. And believe me, this happens practically. So what we have said, let's include some extra member at a managerial level, and you can call them assistant project manager. And these assistant project manager, or you can call them project lead as well, these are kind of stepping into the shoe of leadership, but they are still bit technical, still leading the team, leading this individual 3, 4, 5 team, whatever we have inducted in the scaled agile. Now, does that shift our focus from lean management to the costly management? No. And we'll basically see progressively how we utilize this project lead as a scrum master, as a technical lead, as a designer or architect. And this is what we are doing from the last few years. So whatever new persons join in the in between the layer of a program manager, senior project manager, and the team are basically a kind of team members who are helping the program manager on day-to-day basis. So rather than one single managing person, we have as in, let's say, 4 or 5 such persons or 3 such persons who are leading the management team efficiently, and they are more available to the team in terms of if they are having any problem, they can go to, rather than a single person, they can go to these 3-4 persons which are buffering in between the manager and the team itself. Again, we are not inducing a new person here. What we are doing, we are utilizing the resources within the team. Then the code quality. See, code quality has a maximum, if you look at from a typical IT, project management, perspectives, code quality is the most questionable item in good number of delivery, because many developers, coders, they don't code it in terms of those standardized templates given to them. They try to cut short, and mostly there are developers, they write the pseudo code also. But when it comes to something like a team member or a project lead kind of positions, who is rather than a managerial level, a technical person, can review this code quality at a random code review processes. So that's why now we have efficient code review processes as per the scaled agile team member goes. Or what I can do, if I go to a level where I say whenever I adopt scaled agile, I'll induce this team lead or project lead, so that they can keep track, or they can keep even help scrum master, project manager, as well as team members to make sure we are totally aligned with the scaled agile. And this is kind of cost investment by the organizations whenever you try to move to the scaled agile. And this is normally practical approach we were doing. in the process whenever we have adopted scaled agile. So that's why our code quality increases and our transparency increases, because one project manager can hide many things as a human person, right? And that's what we normally call as a dissemination of information. But when you have 4 or 5 people, it's difficult to acquire that transparency, acquire that what you can say, encapsulation of information. So now we are being more transparent, and all these team leads, they help the actual ground level team member to build more transparency day by day, or they get more what you can say collaborative, synchronizing alignment, and to achieve the delivery for the large number of teams as well. So here what we are doing, we are basically inserting a layer on the organizational cost basis to leverage multiple team coordination to a great level. And that's how even most of the organizations believe these initiatives really help them in a long term. And whenever you have such resource insertion help you out to build efficiency, you can see there are a good number of benefits of efficiently delivering project deliveries, and having better checks like alignment, code quality, and transparency, which helps the organizations in a long run. And that's how we are basically building our team efficiency more progressively. Could you understand what I'm trying to say here? Anybody have any confusion? This is a kind of proven public facing framework for applying lean and agile practices at the enterprise scale. So we are applying lean as well as agile practices. Let me take you further, and let's discuss this big picture in a more better way, right? So here we can see 3 different stripes, 3 different swim lanes, where we have a team first, then we have program manager, and we have portfolio management. So here we have 3 different levels of management in terms of project management to a given scaled agile project. Now let's start with the team first. So within team, what I'm doing here in the image, you can see there are developers and testers. So that's my agile team. We talk about Scrum, agile master, and a product owner. And these guys, they also have some sort of a extra team with them. When you talk about product owner or a Scrum master, they have their assistants. They have their own, separate, what you can say, team member who can basically replace them, who can basically, I'll not say replace, sorry, replace is not the word, who can basically help them in executing this project whenever they are not available. And this is a practical approach, believe me. Whenever you talk about a product owner, this guy is a CEO, CTO, MD, or some top boss who have initiated a vision at a client's location, and then this client gone to a development partner like GuruSchool, Infosys, Pro TCS, and say, hey GuruSchool, could we do this project of enhancing attendance management solution for me? GuruSchool says, yeah, and we'll do this this way, that way. Let's do it scaled agile way. So product owner says yes. So in the scale agile, I believe you have 5-6 teams, right? GuruSchool say, yeah, the way the project looks, it will go more than a year, and we want to contain that complete development within a year. So I have around 50-55 team members working on this project, and this can be a project manager. So you can be a project manager or product manager for developing this product, project, support services, whatever you're doing it for the state farm. So here what I'm doing, I know the product owner is a kind of CEO, CTO, and might not available. So what I'll ask first, product owner, hey, Mr. Product Owner or Mrs. Product Owner, whatever, on the ground, could you please, share a representative for each of these team member as your product owner representative. So you say, yes. There could be these, Kathy, and there are, 3-4 team members who might ask, who might represent me as a product owner on all these daily Scrum calls. And that's where these 3-4, team members, each for one team, can represent product owner. And product owner is there, who is kind of behind the curtain, who coordinating with these product owner representative on day in day out basis. Similarly, the Agile Scrum Master will have a team of Agile Scrum Master who are executing these, each Scrum Master stream one by one. So we have, if you have 4 teams, we have 4 Scrum Master. If you have 5 streams, 5 execution stream in terms of projects, so we have 5 Scrum Masters. Now these Scrum Master, if you have 5 Scrum Master, they do coordinate in between, so that they'll share, okay, this is the product backlog we are talking about, and these 3 user story should go to the X team rather than the Y team. And then they debate on between themselves. Yes, they agreed. Now whenever there's a next daily Scrum team meets comes, they normally share this thought process with the team, and team say, yes, you are right, because we are developing these things, so these user stories to be developed by us, and so on and so forth. So here what we are doing, we are trying to work on a level where we have these stories shared across the team members. And this way, what we are doing, we are building better efficiency day by day, because we have worked in the background, we know the background. So these user story which are adopted by us makes more sense and gives us a better idea in terms of having these things done together with a shared thought process. So here we are sharing the team backlog amongst the team rather than just one team executing it. And if there's any problem of, let's say, resource being absent, resource being not well, we might ask the other team, say, hey team, could you please share resource with this skill set with us? Team say, yeah, I have those resources, and we do have a lag of around 4 or 5 hours, and he or she can work with you. Now here, if you can, you can't go to the resource manager to have a resource for 4-5 hours, but within team, you can address those granular chunks as well. As you can see in this image, there are some red patch. What are these red patch? Red patch are the challenges in terms of resources, man, material, machine. So a laptop failure, a human resource falling ill, or raw material faulty, and so on and so forth, or delayed delivery. I can absorb these shocks with the other team members. And these are basically, I don't have to do lots of email communication and so and so. I can just stand on my seat and say, hey boss, can I have this resource for, let's say, 3 hours? And the the Scrum Master say, or the project leader will say, yeah, you can work with that team till the lunchtime, like 2 hours from now, and get that thing sorted out. And this is how we work on a human level. We work on a team level rather than a leadership level, and that's how we address these inner shortfalls with effective iterative development. The efficiency are built at the next level, and this is what these agile scaled agile team members have referred as a spikes, refractors, or others. So here we are trying to address those spikes. Spikes is the most simpler word to use in the interview also. So here we are reducing those spikes, we are absorbing those spikes within our team members, within our challenges within the team. And we have seen how we can improve the code quality, and we can have some sort of a part resource sharing whenever we need. So that's why they've shown an image with the vertical stripes as far as the team representation goes, or a shared resource goes. Have you understand the team level agile scrum advantages? Team level scaled agile advantages. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
We are good, right? Now let's try to move to the program level. Program level, here we are talking about multiple teams. One leader, one program manager is executing these teams. So here we have a clear roadmap at our disposal with the product owner and the product owner associates working with it. So we have a program backlog. In the team level, we had a different team backlog, but in the program level, I can have one program level backlogs. So wherever I have a complete requirement list with the scenarios, dependencies, and I'm going to address those things with the multiple team now. And then there's a team backlog. So there's a 1 team backlog, 2 team backlog, 3 team backlog. Now here I have architects and designers also. Each team might have an architect, might not have architects. Each team might have a designer, might not have a designer. Now these senior team members, which can also be shared across. As we know, senior team members are really costly. Means if you look at a salary of an architect or designer within North America, it's in the multiple of a developer's salary. So the cost I can share across in terms of the weightage of such senior people, so that I can have one or maximum two senior architects working across the 3 or 4 teams or 5 teams. In the Agile Scrum thought processes, I need to have architect or designer in my team, so that he can guide or he can clear all the confusions in terms of architect or design as far as the developers or tester goes. But here I can have two such resources shared across the 4-5 team, rather than having each each team with the architect or designer kind of scenario. And this is what we call the economy of volume. So whenever you have a bigger team, the economy of value kicks in, and we might have a system team dedicated for us to manage the infrastructure. We might apply to the DevOps as well. DevOps is a thought process which normally called as a development operations. So here we are more concentrating on lean management and building operational efficiency within these project teams. So these DevOps, you might think it as a change software whenever you are creating your better project efficient teams. And that's how we normally apply DevOps 15-16 different software as a batch to our teams to work them efficiently. So we have one software for bug reporting. So whenever there's a bug, the bug reporting software will share the alert to the relevant developer saying, hey Ravindra, you had a problem in your code which you have written in so and so date. This is a functionality which was supposed to be acquired but couldn't get executed likewise. So then they will say, yeah. So this is basically can be notified from a tester, where we bundled a shared delivery with other team. So here again, this is what we call economy of volumes. And please write down this word somewhere, economies of volume. This is a kind of most important thing whenever in our day-to-day life as well. Let me share an example with you. I go to the market and I want to buy a bicycle for my kid, right? Normal expectation. I go to market and found, oh man, all these bikes are above 750 and above, right? Oh, so I came back, say, no, I don't want to spend that much dollars for this month because we are tight and blah, blah, blah things. So we come home. And then while talking to my neighbor, I found that his kid also is looking for a bike. So what I sit with this person and say, hey boss, like this, could we contact a couple of other neighbors and try to find out if everybody needs a bike? Let's buy 2 bikes in common. And you can go for a better bike. You can go for a better, a sturdy bike. And we might bought a bike of $1,000 for, let's say, 5 neighbors. So rather than one person spending $750, what we did among 5, we spent $2,000. So if you distribute that thing, we are talking about $500 per resource. And that way, this is what we normally call as the economy of volume. If you purchase in volume, the price goes down. Similarly, if you go to the Sam's Clubs as an shopping chain in North America, built on the principle of economy of volumes. So here, the more you purchase, the lesser price you pay per item. Even if you purchase a milk can of a 1 gallon, 1.5 or 1 liter, the price is bit more. When you purchase a milk can of a 5 gallon, the price is much lesser than the 1 liter this thing. 1 liter milk carton. So this way, we normally, whenever you try to purchase more in volume, you normally pay less per item. But could you apply these things everywhere? No. If you need just one car, you will buy one car. You can't have a car shared across your neighbors. Bike, yes, because the kids normally play together. So using those bikes together makes sense. The car, you normally go to different office than your neighbor. So you can't apply economics of volumes to everywhere. But in case of scaled agile, we can apply these economy of volumes because we can reduce the top charging resources to a bare minimum, and I can improve my team efficiency with a lesser cost. And this is what we are applying at a program level. So here we are having better resources at a lesser cost shared across the team, and that's how I'm reducing the overall cost waste or reducing the cost churn on a program level at a much reduced efficiency. And still I'm working on different streams in terms of deliver on demand or having these resources plan these things efficiently in terms of delivering together. If you have any challenge, you can absorb those shocks across the team as well, because we also have architect and design shared across the team. And so the churn really is out a step by step. The more better management efficiency I reach, the better product management or the release management team I can employ within my team. And in addition to that, I can have something like DevOps to be applied whenever my team gets matured enough to understand the challenges with having restricted 15-16 tool to address each and every of their software's support infrastructure type of services. Again, DevOps particularly talks about infrastructure services like sharing printer across, sharing test resources or test server across, and so on and so forth. Okay, we'll spend some time on DevOps at the end of our scaled agile, where we'll try to understand what are these tools which we can adopt in a progressive manner. And then on top of that, I normally have a thought process of agile release train, ART. ART is a most asked questions among scaled agile interview. What is ART? Agile release train. So what we do in terms of, let's say if you have 4 or 5 teams working together, all their deliveries or milestone, we normally mark it as a sequenced delivery on our project plan. Now these deliveries or milestones to be acquired day after day, to be acquired with every sprint completion, has to be aligned with the delivery team, aligned with the release team altogether, so that the customer feels, the client feels there's only one release manager releasing these releases one after another. And that's why it can be depicted as a train, because rather than one team who is delivering at the end of their stream, the other team also is delivering, right? So we normally have now release after releases, we normally have delivery after delivery coming to the client like a train. Like one team might have a 6-day sprint, other team might have a 8-day sprint. Now whenever one team delivers after 6 days, the next team is delivering after 2 days. So it's like kind of 2-day sprint to the client. He or she getting deliveries after deliveries pumped up to his bin on a sequential manner, on a cumulative manner. And that's why you can call it as a agile release train. As the train, you have the bogies, you have the wagons coming after one after another, and that's why they called as agile release train delivery solutions, day after day or continuous delivery. That's what they call. In the DevOps, they call it CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline. So when you talk about ART, you can use word like CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and that's how we achieve a continuous progression, continuous efficiency building across this team to the client on a progressive manner. And this is the most advantageous part of Agile Scrum developments, increments in this delivery. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions on a program segment of a scaled agile thought process? Again, this diagram is not drawn by me. It's a copyrighted diagram from a scaled agile framework. It talks loads and loads of thought processes included in the agile scaled disciplined project management methodology. Am I confusing you, or could you understand what I'm trying to say, sir? Sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
In the program part, this BO, what I see, the BO is like BA, the business analyst or business operations.
Yes, it's a business operations. DevOps
Okay.
talks about, yeah, it's beside DevOps, right? So DevOps talks
Yeah.
about improving development operations. And there we might leverage some persons like BO. And this is again an evolving thought process. That's what I am not mentioned. BO normally takes care of how you can have these, or BO normally takes care of the sprint wise, sprint backlog segmentation. So whenever or BO is a kind of responsible person across team who decides which team will get which user story to be executed, because at a program level you need to have these segmentation disciplined somewhere, otherwise there is a chaos, or everybody wants to develop the simpler requirements than a complex requirement, right? So that's why we might nominate a person as a business owner, or a kind of business operations person who can discipline these delivery of user stories to be developed across the team. And you can label them as a program objectives or PSI as well.
So they are not exactly like business analysts. Like they are not going to collect the
No, no, no.
requirements of the business.
No, these are not business analysts.
Okay.
These are kind of optionals to even scaled agile teams. If you have too many complexity in terms of user stories, you normally apply BO. So they are kind of optional. So you need to reach to a maturity to have this BO itself, so that BO can guide you, like why these are the user stories you need to complete, these are the requirements you need to complete, and the others are working on these things. So these are a kind of, you can say, a breed of designer or architect who normally build a logical partitioning for each sprint deliveries and the lengths of the sprint as well, most of the time.
Yeah. And so who is this? And if you could just repeat again, like who is this RTE?
Okay, RT is release train. I think you can say executive, or again, RT is still not a really mature name. UX is UI designer, architect is architects. RT are kind of a release train executive. He is a kind of configuration manager or a release manager. Normally, we have
Okay.
experienced, right? So these guys build these releases, or they certifies
Yeah.
these releases to move to the client server, client place, or make sure these products, parts, whatever you developed is ready to ship to the client. So these are kind
Okay.
of they call it agile release executives, which are basically a kind of one to each and every scaled agile team. Again, normally what I have seen in practicality, we have multiple RTE for a given scaled agile. So if you have, let's say, 5 teams working together, I might have 2 RTE who normally works with the project manager, product manager to build this train, to build the discipline into the train. Because what happens, sometimes the development team pushes the software product to the release even before the testing cycles get have to be completed and all, right? Or they normally label the defect as a known defect and push the delivery to the delivery team. That's the kind of challenges we face specifically in our Indian context. So that's why I might have an RTE who certifies whatever delivery pushed by the development team to the release has to be checked for the quality of the delivery and something like that. So they benchmark the delivery.
Okay. And
But
sir,
again,
just a,
come again, sorry.
no, sir, carry on.
Yeah. But again, these are not very, what you can say, these can be optionals, because many of these scaled agile team, they don't have a separate RT, but the scrum master or the product owner is a person who normally certifies the delivery.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
And
Let me
sir,
move.
just a last question. What
Please,
is this
please.
NFRS?
Where's NFRS?
This under this backlog, team backlog, program backlog, that
Oh,
small.
okay. NFRS, right? These are kind of total, requirement list or a user story containers, where we normally take a few user stories or the requirement to be developed in a sprint.
Yeah.
NFRS.
I never heard this term, that is why.
Yeah. Give me a minute to think it through. Man, how did I miss this NFRS? Give us a minute, and we'll discuss about this NFRS in our next slide. Just hold on your question for a minute. Okay.
Sir, I just looked for it. It's non-functional
Non-functional
requirements.
Yeah.
Okay, the performance
Yeah.
requirement. Yes, perfect. Okay. Now normally what we have in our requirement list, all the functional requirement or a feature list. But normally the projects might be a failure whenever you miss the performance requirement. So that's why they have specifically mentioned that NFRS as an extension to this work backlog. So we need to solve NFRS when we solve a couple of combined requirements or a user story for a given execution team, right? So even we attach this NFRS with the requirements to make sure whenever that quality person is checking those things, he'll observe these NFRS in relation with those backlogs, in relation with those requirements, in relation with the users. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead. You want to say something?
No, sir.
No, okay. So this NFRS is non-functional requirement. Normally, this was a miss in our normal, development processes whenever we are trying to do even Agile Scrum. There were good number of times we miss the non-functional requirement, which are basically, see, non-functional requirement, you don't do anything as specific, but it's a kind of an umbrella requirement. Let's say if you are developing a car, the car should achieve 140 miles per hour on a normal state highway. That was my performance requirement. Now, could you, think to which team these, non-functional requirement will go? Should it go to the engine team? Should it go to the shop absorber team? Should it go to the tire team? To achieve these requirement, we all need to work together. And that's why it's a kind of umbrella requirement. And that's why we normally call it non-functional requirement. You can't attach to a said team. So these requirements to be attached in an umbrella fashion. And that's why these requirements are normally given to the testing teams to verify all the things are working in cohesion to achieve these efficiencies, to achieve this performance. That's why they've marked it separate at the bottom of all requirement or the user story. Does that make sense?
Is it like performed with the system team?
Yes, ma'am. Total system performance, that's what the benchmark the client have suggested to you.
So the system team is completely different than the release management team and the product management team and
no. See, we are not isolating teams here. System teams, we are talking about some infrastructure guys. So when you apply DevOps, you need to have some infrastructure guys to help this team member to utilize those new software which we are implementing in our team. So that's why we might need some system teams to help or guide them. System team is not a part of your agile scale or scaled agile team, but they are kind of external help which we leverage as an expert or expert judgment, as we seen in a project management thought processes.
Oh, okay.
And we might need these what you can say members to manage our release as well, because even in DevOps we have some release management with some script, with some extra automated thought process. So you want to automate those release also. The release like ship this car to such and such place to test. If within America, the Ford car company have around 4 or 6 test farms, as they call it. So in those farms, you have specific road conditions tested for these vehicles. Now, whenever they release a car, or they basically release a car to be tested, that car is being shipped to such places or such track or a farm where these car or one of the car from hundreds of car will be tested on that ranch or that farm, where the car's shock curves, speeds is being challenged to its extremity. Even there are some crash tests and everything. So like that, you might have a kind of specified release test bed before you ship any release to the client. And that's how we normally have these system teams or DevOps teams helping us out in terms of building such places where I can test the efficiency and performance at it, at a more challenging conditions. And that's how we normally take a help of these experts to help us, our team, to build better releases day by day. Does that make sense, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Sure. So that's why we normally use experts to build better efficiency, or to walk the last mile, if I might say so, in terms of getting the deliveries perfected for our client as per their requirement. Now let's take a step further in terms of portfolio management. In this portfolio management, here we are managing portfolios for a client. As we say, we combine the project for a client, and normally this is the practical thought process. If you are doing couple of projects for State Farm, let's say attendance management enhancement, parking enhancement, even other scenario like power save management and so on and so forth, it really makes sense to have all these teams co-located and working together with a kind of cohesion, with a kind of interactive collaboration within the team itself to build all its efficiency. And that's how we normally come to a band called portfolio management. Now, as in Guru School, as a development partner with the State Farm, building a portfolio or working or managing a portfolio for a State Farm to build all these delivery, to build all these releases effectively day after day, day by day, in a progressive manner. So here I might include something like project matrices tracking from the dashboards. I might have a portfolio or program management team to help this program manager or a portfolio manager for any challenges in terms of a management, to build a lean practices. Like a PMO office representative can be working with the Ravindra if he or she is a project manager for such scaled agile project. Now here I might have a complete value stream in terms of how the clients challenges can be addressed better, and this is what we normally call as a cross farming. So you build a roadmap saying this is a roadmap for the attendance management system and a parking management system, and then one day our sales management team came across the SAP installation of SAP installation of State Farm, and the sales manager might guide sales manager from Guru Schools might guide the State Farm to replace the SAP with the open ERP. SAP, you need to pay thousands and thousands of dollars per year in a fees, right? Royalty fees and all. But if you use something like open ERP, which is, well, not as good as SAP, but you can basically what you can say, come down on a performance and spend almost a fraction of a cost in terms of 1/5 or 1/10 of a cost which you are spending to the SAP. SAP is a really big white elephant. You might have worked, a couple of you might have worked on SAP. So the sales manager suggests the State Farm team, hey State Farm, why don't you go with open ERP? You don't have to pay any licensing cost. The support is available at $25 per year. Believe me, this is the actual cost of a open ERP support from the open ERP team. And you normally need to have a good number of 5-6 developers to manage the ERP rather than SAP. In SAP, you might have 50 or 60 odd resources. Here, we are reducing the cost by almost 1/5, cost to almost 1/5. And that's how, or 1/10, or lesser than that. And that's the actual practical approach. And State Farm say, yes, please guide me out. So what we do, you add another agile scrum execution to your scaled agile project execution, saying, hey Ravindra, now you have this additional team of converting the SAP to the open ERP. As far as scaled agile goes, this is a kind of proof of concept. So this will be a just 3 months project. So what Ravindra will do, Ravindra will have new resource created. Ravindra might have a couple of additional resources created for this piece, proof of concept, POC, and then all these resources can be basically get absorbed in the normal teams till they get a new project, so that my project cost will be reduced in the what you can say, in the good amount of volume in terms of addressing my original project. And this way I build what you can say value streams also, and I keep cross-selling, I keep getting better day by day, my team getting increased day by day, so the billing cost, so the profitability. That's what we called value stream. And I can also go to the investors saying, hey investors, see, these are the few challenges State Farm has, and as a technology partner, I'm going to solve all their problem. So please give me some money, so that whenever State Farm pays me, I'll pay you with certain interest, no interest, and all those things as well. So here I'm building my business better day by day. I'm improving State Farm's life day by day, and so on and so forth. This is what the value streams are all about. We'll come to Kanban after a certain slide. Kanban is a new thought process above and beyond Agile Scrum, where we normally use Kanban boards whenever you do Agile Scrum daily meets in the morning, 15 minute, right? So we use Kanban to share all these product backlog on a day-to-day basis, team backlog or a sprint backlog review on day-to-day basis across the teams. And we'll learn the Kanban in couple of slides, after a couple of slides. So just hold on to your Kanban question. It's a new thought process. How you can efficiently share the sprint backlog or a team backlog on a day-to-day executions in the Scrum Meet. And here, in terms of portfolio management, I have a portfolio vision also. So I have a business epics in terms of how I'm helping the State Farm business. I'm also having an architecture epics, what type of software products and portfolios I'm giving to the State Farm to enhance their business progressively. So I have a complete encapsulation or a epics span releases, and an architecture evolves continuously for a State Farms to make their life easily day by day progressively. Now portfolio is a kind of the most strategic thought process in terms of the relationship between a development partner and a client partner. So this is kind of a bit difficult to understand, or you might think it cryptic as now, but whenever you start working on actual ground, you will find it. This is the best possible scenario happened whenever you move to the scaled agile thought process. And that's why we normally choose to go to the scaled agile way to build efficiency of volumes, to build better portfolios, or to help our client in a progressive manner, in an evolutionary manner. And that's how you adopt to the scaled agile framework. And that's what we normally call as a big picture diagram. Does that make sense to you? Anybody have any question, confusion?
No, sir. So what is that EA and EO there
Means EA.
in the business epics and architecture, the roles EA and EO?
These are the another roles like enterprise architect, enterprise
Okay.
organizer, in terms of organizing the team. Let me do one thing. Let me play this video which basically talks about all these short forms, okay? And then we'll discuss about the business results.
Okay.
Give me a minute, please. Yes. No, not vector specs. Okay. New share. Now this is a kind of 5 minutes video where the scaled agile framework have explained all these synonyms, or these short what I can say, these acronyms, and then we'll discuss further. Okay, let me play this thing for you. Could you able to hear this voice?
Yes,
Could you
sir.
see safe overview in 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
SAFE provides the operating system for organizations to achieve business agility through the 7 core competencies of the lean enterprise: team and technical agility, agile product delivery, enterprise solution delivery, lean portfolio management, organizational agility, continuous learning culture, and lean agile leadership. It all starts with team and technical agility, and
This is more from a marketing side rather than a technicality, but yes, this explains all these short forms and the thought processes they've included in the SAFE. So that's why I really like this video. I'll share the link as well, so you can have a look at it whenever you have whenever you want to revise these as well.
Specifically with the Agile team. An Agile team is a group of 5 to 11.
Marketing where we have encapsulated all the agile, sorry, scale agile thought process into one video, and it's really good. So whenever you have interview, you can have a look at this video. I'll share the link in the WhatsApp group so that you can have a look at this video. I have one more as well, which is a bit of longer, where they explain all these bits and pieces of these scaled agile adoptions. Now here, how do we generate business results in terms of scaled agile? That's what we are to share with you in terms of how do you increase in employee engagement, because we are now working with a multiple team, so that an employee can be shared across, and he might have multiple reporting officers, multiple superiors to work with. So we can basically improve efficiency in terms of one might work with another in the best possible scenario, and so on and so forth. So we are improving the employee engagement, we are improving the faster time to market, because we have good number of resources at our disposal in terms of agile scrum, so that we can build better efficiency day by day. And there is a 50% of defect reductions which we have observed in terms of having multiple quality control teams to help out to deliver a product with a certification of their quality control mechanisms. And then we have 20 to 50% increase in productivity in terms of shared resources, in terms of lesser failure rate, and so on and so forth. So that's how we are basically leveraging the what you can say economies of volumes, and that's how we are building better execution team, better efficiency day by day. Could you understand these things? Did you get an idea of how scaled agile is going to help us in terms of doing better efficiency on a project to project level? Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Let's let's stop here, and then in our next session we'll have a look at it, how this estimation, goal, value, and everything can be comprised in terms of how we build this efficiency on a ground level. Okay, I'll share the recording, I'll release it to the YouTube, and I'll also basically share the what I can say video we just saw, so that you can have a look at it again whenever you have time. Okay, any questions so far as of now?
No, sir.
Okay, so next session we'll revisit business results again, and then we'll move to the other advantages of the scaled agile. Okay, chalo. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Most welcome. Have a good night.